Campbell's Comments Stable Chat, proudly brought to you by Kelly Partners and Paul Dobson and Dylan Barry's phone numbers, and that will be up at the end of this interview. Catching up today with Sean Mott here in downtown Bendigo. Very, very cold morning. Welcome, Sean.
Yes, Paul, certainly chilly this morning.
If anyone thinks my nose is red and I'm doing a bit of Rudolph, it has definitely has turned. We're here just the other side of the racetrack here, the Thoroughbred racetrack here. Firstly, how big is the property you got, mate?
Oh, I've got 1.5 acres here, and I've got this stable which we've just built, and I've got day yards, and I've got afternoon paddocks. Got
a little bit of everything. There's some subdivisions going up around the side if you're in that. Sometimes people get a bit nervous of it. It's probably complemented you in a way, and you lost one of your paddocks, but it actually making this property very, very boutique, if you like.
Yeah, it has. It actually, I've worked in well with the developers, and we sort of they helped me out, and I helped them out, and we made an awkward situation work well, and it's ended up all right.
Known you for a long time, Sean, and you've a little bit like a few of us. You come in and out of the sport as we go. Right at the minute, as we speak, we're standing underneath a beautiful new shed that you've just put up for boxes lit, ideal for this time of year in Bendigo, but also ideal for the guts of summer, like those January, February nights when it can get very, very warm.
Yeah, well, I just found my weak point was, like you said, the middle of summer, those 40-degree days. While I've got yards with shelters and things like that, as we know, horses, they'll just stand out in the open, and same when it's belting down rain, they're always out in the open. I just found that was my weak spot, so I was lucky to win a race at Flemington last year, and so I just invested that into the shed. And it's working a treat. Like those couple of wet days that we've had, they're here dry undercover, so I've got no regrets.
People who aren't aware, a lot of people watch Campbell's Comments. I think Bendigo is one of the hardest places to train horses. We had a day 2 days ago, it was -3 degrees. We will get down to probably -5 in the guts of winter. We'll get 45 degrees in the guts of summer. So we get all the extremes, and it's very hard to have the right stabling for the entire environment.
Yeah, it is. And where this is going to be a blessing in summer is it's just during that peak of the day when I can't get shade for them. Like they can be here under cover. But in the afternoon, my paddocks have all got trees in them. So once the sun swings around a little bit, I can get them out in the open. They're out in their paddocks, and they can stand under the trees.
Right, training 3 horses at the minute. You were up to about 4 or 5, but that's one of the things. That's what I'm going to try and do with these stable chats, change them up a lot. It's not all about when you're winning races or when you're losing races, and the likes. It's a bit of the plight of the small trainers and how hard it is, especially in the thoroughbreds, standardbreds. Doesn't matter what industry it is, it's very, very hard. Only 3 at the minute. Headline act is our Lone Star.
Yes, it is. Yeah, he, as I just mentioned before, he won at Flemington last year, and he won at Sandown Easter Monday. So he's been a good horse for me.
You just said there before, can mix his form a little bit, can be a little bit of a problem child perhaps for trainer and riders?
He's like a lot of horses. He's got his pattern, and if you can't get him into his pattern, things can go pear-shaped.
People who don't know, like how do you come across a horse like our Lone Star?
Well, I actually trained his mother, and the people that own the mother, they sent the mother to Magnus, and she had 2 foals, and I've been able to train both of them.
You've been lucky enough to the other one as good as him?
No, not the same level, but however she's won 4 races, just restricted around the provincials, whereas he's been the city class horse.
Is that one of the other horses you got in work?
Yes.
How much homework have I done? I'm going good at this, aren't
I? Yeah. That's his full sister, and she's going to race in 3 weeks.
So she'll race in 3 weeks, and then the other horse is a horse that you just brought back into work because I did at Steve in another life that I do. I just did at Steve as well. So that's sort of the team at the minute. Is that where it'll stay for the winter?
Yeah, for the winter. Yeah, and the one I've just brought in, she's just having just a short little winter prep. She's a dry tracker, and I won with her on the 23rd of December, and she had a couple more runs through January. And then she went through a growth spurt, so I'll put her out. But just to break up a spell, so she wasn't going to be out for about 7 months, I was just going to get her in for 6 weeks, just do a little bit with her, and then put her back out for a month, and then get her back for a summer prep.
I've known you for a long time. Yourself and Dee were next door initially. I think was nearly the first place that I came across, and do a lot of pre-training work at that time for Mick Price. Your dad was helping you, 30 to 40 horses in work. Any ambitions of going back to that level?
No. No, not at all. No, been there, done that. Yeah, it's funny how things evolve. When I as a young fella, yeah, Dad always sort of broke in a couple and pre-trained a couple, and we always had ponies and going to pony club and doing different things, and that was great. But then you get working and you sort of work your way up, and I worked for a trainer here that had 10 horses, and I worked for another one at 20, and I went to Melbourne, and there were 30 horse stables, and then 60, and then 100 horse stables, and then now I've gone the other way. I'm just, when I started off, we started off with just a handful of horses, built it up to the 20, 30 like you mentioned, and now just cut it back to the 3 or 4 at a time.
Dee, I mentioned Dee there before. She passed, I'm going to say 5 years, thank you, 5 years ago, very, very suddenly and very sadly as well. You went through a fair life change, fair to say. I think you nearly all but walked away from horses there at one stage. What brings you back to the horses?
Yeah, I hit a point where, okay, yeah, that door had shut, as in that part of my chapter of my life. So what did I want the next chapter to look like? So I actually got myself educated. I went and did a diploma of community services, and that was great. Really enjoyed that. That took a couple of years to do because of COVID, and that sort of opened up my eyes a lot to the outside world, not the inside world, like the bubble that we live in. But and then it was funny how things worked out. COVID hit, and so there was no work going. It was only sort of just a little bit of volunteer work, and then our Lone Star came along. And just on the back of him, sort of the phone started ringing, and people started coming on board. And so, I've sort of started to head in another direction, but the horses pulled me back in this direction.
They're an unusual beast, and I love them, and that's what Campbell's comments is about, is promoting them. I think people don't realise what they can do. The magnetism of how a horse can actually draw you back into something that you'd almost put the white flag up. You'd almost said, that's it for me.
Yeah, well, I just said at a point, even if I had have gone down the other path, I would have always tinkered around with one or two, just whether that was just even at the picnics, that would have been fine, just to scratch that itch, because you never lose the itch. But just, when he came along and the phone started ringing, I thought, well, because I had been up that bigger size before, I thought, well, is this a second chance? And when you get into your 50s, second chances don't come along. So I thought, well, I'll grab it, run with it, and see what happens. And if it fizzles out, well, so be it. At least I won't regret not having a second go.
I'm not in my 50s yet. Very, very close. I will be honest. I could actually say I am, but I must say I'm not quite there yet. The stable behind us, New Stable's only got 4. You've got 4 yards out the back. Something tells me you don't want to, even though you do want to keep training, and I'm sure that if people want to ring you, you're more than happy to, but you're not interested in the big numbers.
No. Quality over quantity. I've been in the big yards and done all that. I was cutting my teeth through on them, and I watch what's going on now in the industry. Like the bigger trainers have got even bigger. But to be able to be hands-on and just know your horses and tinker around with them, I just find it very rewarding. When you get it right, it's so rewarding.
It is, and I think the horses are. We're here just opposite the Bendigo Racecourse, and there's some big developments, in the pipeworks, or almost into fruition there. Training horses here. From time to time, it gets, some people say it's near on impossible. You get a lot of trainers that'll come here and going to, reinvent the wheel, if you like, and they don't last very, very long. But it seems to have everything that you want here at Bendigo.
There's no want for facilities. We've got everything here. Like just when you came up to do that filly's teeth, I just come back from the water walker. So all mine this morning. One had been to the main track. One had been up to the bush off the pony, and then he'd been to the swimming pool on the way home. The other one off the pony up the bush and off to the water walk on the way home. So there's nothing you can't do here. The training tracks are fine. You can train any style. If you want to be a speed trainer, you can train speed style. If you want to be a staying sort of trainer, work them over ground, you can do that here. So it's not the facilities.
It's just one of those interesting things that I, like as a horse tennis, I've seen happen over the year. And you're spot on there about the amenities. There is the bush basically there. That is where it is. Swimming hole, bull ring, proper water walk that's run professionally. You just book in and go from there. And I imagine the grass facilities here as well. You got access to all that. And the club are opening up to more and more options by the sounds.
Yeah. There's just nothing that we need here. It's just You just got to make it work for you. I think that's one of the tricks. Is like we were talking about the weather and the environment. Is adapting to that. Once you get a handle on that, and then you get a handle on your horses, it's a great place to be because you're so close to everything, everywhere. Like yesterday to Chuka, it's only an hour up the road. Kyneton, Kilmore. You're in a good region. Next week, Swan Hill Carnival. We're only 2 hours away.
Are you going to the Swan Hill Carnival?
Maybe Lone Star. If you won well tomorrow and came through that well, there's a chance it might back up at Swan Hill.
Right. So one thing we better get onto, because traditionally I don't put these up on Fridays because my Facebook page, they don't generate a lot of interest. But this might be a different one. He's racing tomorrow. On Saturday at Bendigo? Can you give a push for people at home? Has he got a chance?
Yeah, he's got a great chance. Even though his form might look patchy on paper, I'm really happy with him. Within himself, he's terrific. He's actually thrived during the preparations. Just race day, once he's left the barriers, things have just gone pear-shaped, through circumstances beyond his control. Whether others haven't gone in front of him, they've wanted to hang back, or he ended up too far back the other day. But tomorrow he's drawn barrier 2. The track will be perfect for him, in that 7 to 8 range. There looks to be nice speed in the race, so he's going to get a lovely trial in the race. And this will be the first time he's been in a large field over 1600 with pace on since he won at Flemington.
There's a good push and a great track, a similar track to Flemington.
Correct.
Big spacious track. Sean, thank you. Anyone wants to get in touch with you, they can reach out and get in touch with Sean. What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Either phone number or email.
You're not going to rattle the phone number off, or you're going to keep it?
No, 0400 00 4317 or SeanMottRacing@BigPond.com.
Very, very good, mate. Well done. Thank you very much for giving me a little bit of your time. Going to try and get around and do quite a few of these and get the message out there, because I think it's hard sometimes for the small stables that you're going pretty good for what you got in work, and it's hard to get the message out there. So thank you very much. Thanks very much to the guys at Kelly Partners, Paul Dobson and Dylan Barry. As I said there, all your accounting needs, get in touch with those guys. But Shawnee Mott, thank you, and good luck tomorrow, mate.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it.